All right, we're hitting the pause button on the testimony. You're not going to miss a moment of this GBI agent on the stand detailing just details that make your skin crawl in terms of their investigation into the disappearance of Mindi Kassotis. At the time, they were just investigating a discarded remains type situation. Let's bring in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar, who is here watching along with us. What a trial this is. Only day one, Michael, and we've gotten some really sad and sick details when it comes to how Mindi's body was located. But I want to first start with the defendant. What do you think about Nicholas Kassotis sitting there inside of the courtroom, and the fact that this is not his first time in a courtroom, certainly the first time sitting there as a defendant, though, but he is an officer of the court?
You know, I was thinking about that earlier. I think this is the most accomplished defendant that I've ever seen in terms of being able to cover his tracks. I could be wrong, but I don't recall a time when an actual prosecutor, two law degrees, former JAG officer, being charged for murder in a national trial. Before, I'm not aware of it, but you cannot be more accomplished in covering your tracks than this person. So this trial is going to be riveting for that reason. I really, I'm very interested because I'm interested in why Georgia brought this case. They brought some pretty big charges against him, malice murder and the like, because this case against him so far seems circumstantial. Right? It's very circumstantial. They've got to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he met every single element of the charges. And they know that they have a big haul to make here because of the fact that he's a former prosecutor. People have to understand, when you're a prosecutor, you understand this evidence and you understand it better than anybody. If he was an immigration attorney, it was a different story. An immigration attorney knows just as much about this as, let's just say, a barista at Starbucks. Let's be honest with each other, right? You just don't know this stuff just because by virtue of the fact of being a lawyer. But being a prosecutor, you know this stuff very well. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, got that military experience as well. What do you think about this crime scene investigator on the stand, what they are bringing to this? Because the other side isn't denying that she was dismembered, not denying that her remains were scattered about. But are we going to see things that point to this defendant? To your point, if he is the one that committed this, he may have been very good at covering tracks.
Yeah, because of the fact that she was his wife, I mean, the defense is going to be able to come back and cross-examine and say, hey, isn't it, she had this judgment against this person. She was trying to enforce it. There's other theories. Isn't it true that because they're married, his DNA would be there, would be here, would be at the crime scene all over her body, her hair, her skin, her nail follicles. I mean, so at the end of the day, that's why I say it's so circumstantial, but they're beginning with this expert. They're beginning to lay the trail that, I mean, you have to place them at the scene. You have to place them in proximity to the body. You have to do it. So they have to do what they're doing now. I just don't think that this witness by themselves, without the full general context, is going to actually get the state of Georgia to overcome their burden. But this is a good start, but it's just a start.
Just a start. It is still day one. This is only witness number 5. We've got a lot of details the jury's having to wade through, including the first wife who had the judgment, the second wife who was dismembered and deceased in the woods, and a third wife that we could hear from that he married pretty quickly after. Michael Jaafar, stand by. We're going to squeeze in a break. We'll get you back inside of this Georgia courtroom when we come back. Let's bring in for discussion on this topic. We have National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar with us. Michael, I know you know this story very well. We have to get the official record on things, and we have not been able to confirm that with the two parties who would know. But do you think they would tell us if there was a deal? And how do these deals usually work? Is it explicit? Is it emailed? Or is it something that's a little bit more nuanced?
Well, it definitely is not emailed for sure. It's usually in person. I believe everybody's telling the truth. I believe that it makes sense. The person who broke it would have no reason to lie and ruin his reputation. And it seems to me like this is something that the state would do, because I know that the state hates Wendy, the daughter. I know they hate her, and I know that I said on a prior episode of Court TV that she's like in that movie, where at the end of the day, the character Kaiser Sose was manipulating everybody and seemed like he was a person who had a learning disability, but at the end of the movie, he turned out to be the mastermind who manipulated everybody. I said that that's Wendy Adelson, right? She's the person who manipulated everybody. It just was bizarre when she had that interview when she was being taped, when she was talking to the police and saying, it must be somebody in my family. It has to be. I don't see how it's not. So I think the state hates her. I think the state thinks that she took them for a ride. So it would make sense that they would offer her mother a plea to implicate her, because how salacious would that be if she manipulated the state? She tried to get away from it. Her own mom implicated her, and the state put her in jail for the rest of her life. I mean, Donna Adelson's 75 years old. She's not going to. I mean, a life sentence for her would not be as impactful as getting Wendy. I think the state definitely wants Wendy. So it would make sense that the state would say we can neither confirm nor deny. And it would make sense that the defense would say that's not accurate, because you could say it honestly that it's technically not accurate. They technically didn't offer a plea. Because what if they just floated a plea and then the defense attorney shot it down? Defense attorneys and prosecutors talk a lot before a trial is struck up. They talk a ton. So it would make sense. I believe it. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if it was true, it would suggest perhaps that the prosecution doesn't have a very strong case against Wendy if they so desperately needed Donna Adelson's testimony in order to go after her. But we will continue to follow all of the developments on that case. We will be there in Tallahassee when it begins August 19th with jury selection.